getting good at that thing.
So, so I know these are a little hard to read because of that dark screen on there. So I guess just if anybody's got any ideas of what they'd like to see different, how they would like to, if you know, I guess if, you know, when we have our meeting next month to finalize our budget, I guess if you have recommendations of changes, you can either make a proposal to amend the budget with all the amendments as a whole, or you can do each line or individual items. That would be, you know, up to anybody that wants to make changes or have, you know, you can either do a wholesale amendment or a line by line amendment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then based on how those votes shake out, I'll make a new document and we'll post it and we'll be on our way. So only items I have that would be of interest as opposed to what I had before was we're losing our part-time town guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going off to do copping in Toole County.
Make more money.
So that's an issue we'll have to deal with. We'll have to re-advertise for a town attorney. We did not get any responses to the last ads. And so I planned on putting those in again tomorrow, you know, letting them know tomorrow so they can rerun those ads.
You didn't get anybody, not even one?
No, nobody. So that's just what I said.
Sorry.
So that's still kind of up in the air because we don't know what that's actually going to cost us when the time comes. So maybe we'll get luckier this time around.
Well, my proposals from last time I'm still sticking by.
Okay.
I really think that we could cut costs by having the judge here one day a week instead of 4 and get that done. With all the disasters and devastation on the southeast coast and California and everywhere else and fires here, costs are going to go up. We're looking at a $700,000 plus increase in our lagoon project that we're going to have to borrow money to finish that project or to go ahead and continue, and we don't know what it's going to cost. If we wait, it could be more. With the petroleum, a lot of our product that the city buys and that Mike uses and everything else is petroleum based. Our gas and our fuel, our oil, everything's going to go up. Gas has already gone up 30-some cents a gallon just in the last few weeks. I don't know how we can plan on giving raises and still maintaining the status quo with what we're going to have to work with in the future. Plus, we're looking at maybe some things coming down the pike. It may be years from now, it may not, but we have to look at the future and start planning for that.
Like what, for instance? Any ideas on what you think might be coming up?
Well, for one thing, the erosion of the river. Our lagoons and our well station, our pump house, and our discharge station is right there. It's close. It may be 10 years down the road, it may be 15 years down the road, but it's going to happen. And it might damage the infrastructure of our lagoons. So we have to look at that. I don't know why the engineers didn't look at it.
Well, and we do have that to look for. That is
and it is a concern.
Point. It is a problem.
Boy, they didn't offer us any hope the other day. I mean, there was.
Well, for the individual, there's just no hope.
No, there isn't, person. Not for private property, but we are a town, and we can maybe look at getting some kind of, later on, maybe not this year, but 2 or 3 years down the road, when the economy's a little bit on better footing, maybe we can get some more
Well, I
grant
do
money
have-
to,
Did she say $400,000 it would take to just put some?
Just for the
for
river route.
Magdalena's
Yeah.
probably the only.
yeah,
Yeah.
Now, I have been working on this summer, gathering different agencies down there. Sometimes other people have gathered people down there too that I wasn't aware of. But the DEQ was our last hope. And just 2 weeks ago, he finally sent me his report and said that, well, although they believe we're doing the right thing, getting ahead of the game, they don't. It's not a crisis yet. But
right.
with that said, I learned a little bit the other night at the meeting and got some names, and I do have a civil engineer coming down at no cost, and I have another fellow who I've been talking to about who's very knowledgeable about what grants are available from a town's perspective, because I think that it's obvious that the town is going to have better leverage and better success at doing something, and of course.
Yeah.
What that is still yet to be determined, but I'll let everybody know when he's schedules to come in, and we can all meet down there at the river and talk about it.
Look at it.
And he'll it's
Well,
not a
they didn't
commitment
read
to
much of
him or
this.
anything, but it's and he'll help us build. What we need to do is build a plan, and it might be a couple of years down the road and try to get some funding. Because fixing the town's threat will benefit everybody, maybe. I mean, I don't know how far
Right.
they'll go, they might.
And then you never know about grants, it's, sometimes you can get a full ride grant and you don't have to worry about matching funds or anything, but when you're working with DEQ and you're working with the water projects and things like that, sometimes you have to have matching funds, and it could be quite expensive.
Yeah.
So,
He did say the Army Corps is the stumbling block.
Right.
And he said if you have something more than 300 feet, it creates a whole big problem. So maybe we have to look at it in chunks, is what I'm wondering.
I
With
don't
a little
know,
time in
but-
between,
But it would be nice to get some more information on
Yeah,
it and start looking at the possibility of that expense.
Yep. So the other fellow is out of Big Timber. He's with the conservation district up there. I guess he's pretty knowledgeable, but I didn't catch him on the phone today, but I have his email and going to kind of be sending things to through email. But yeah, that's going to be that's another project to put on the, it's something that I'm more than willing, but in my time left to kind of get started on building a plan, hand it over to whoever, because it's going to be an ongoing thing, and the Magdalena is going to be impacted next year, completely impacted next year. There's no doubt about it.
Well, and Gloria's getting close.
Yeah, Magdalena will have to, I think, move her home next year.
She will too.
I really do think she will, and I know she's got people lined up to move it, and I don't know if she has yet. I haven't talked to her lately, but she was looking for places to put it, and that isn't going to solve the problem with her garage and everything going.
No.
That's not mobile. She probably won't be allowed to move back. I asked the NRC because of the floodway, if she moves that trailer, is she going to have trouble putting it back? And they said, yeah, you could have a problem putting it back, getting permission to put it back. Well, if there's no land there to put it back on, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that it's not a crisis till the people don't need the help anymore. Because once your house and your property go down the river, you might as well forget it. You don't need help anymore.
No,
Just
it's too late.
ridiculous.
We've been working on this a while.
Well, I know, but so years and years we've been
Sadly.
dealing with people, but
Yeah.
nobody's got an answer.
No.
Because you can't afford to do it if you're just a private owner. And Darlene actually came this year and for the first time mentioned the infrastructure. Well, the water well and the treatment, the treatment house and the new well. But that's 5 or 6 years down the road, or 10 or 12.
Or, yeah, it could be even longer than that,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is
But then
that it might be a
it could
good
be
idea to
next year.
start
Right.
working,
But then the stuff up, so then I think it was Carl, the DEQ guy, who said, well, where's your sewer and water lines? And nobody thought about that. They're right on that corner, Lover's Lane.
Right.
I don't know how many feet, but not very many.
Yeah.
within 20 feet of the bank.
Yeah. So we'll find out what he has to say, and you guys can get a chance to chat with him if you're around. I don't know what day it'll be yet until he calls me next week, but he said he'd put together kind of a preliminary idea of what the steps are and that sort of thing. So, and not charge us anything to look at the first time. So.
Sounds a good idea.
That should be okay as long as it's not Monday.
Yeah, it won't be Monday because.
You do pretty good to get them not to do things without charging.
Yeah,
Well,
it's hard, and it's kind of
Maybe
hard.
he's
they
been
know
lucky
they
that
know
way.
that there's
He's
an
been lucky
opportunity
that
later
way.
on to make a lot of money.
Mhm.
So they're more than
Thought
willing
about
to. Yeah.
But there's days of the week usually you can't get them to do anything on Mondays or
Mhm.
Fridays.
Yeah.
It's usually gonna be
Something in between.
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
like the other two, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Monday and Fridays you don't.
Yeah.
The government people don't.
It's called public service.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the deal is, Shirley and whoever else, if you have an idea, I guess your job is to convince the other council members that that's what we should be doing. That's the way it works. So you guys, if you have thoughts on that, whoever, about the idea of cutting the judge, that's the only thing we talked about yet. I know you said all the things you mentioned before, but specifically the judge 1 day a month instead of every week, once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how much is that gonna save by cutting the judge back to 1 day a month? And the reason I ask that is because she's here 4 to 5 days a month, depending on how many weeks are in a month.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure out of that entire judge's budget, how much her wages come out of that, because there's also other things involved in her budget that include trials, other judicial things that I can't speak to because I don't know.
Right.
And she's also available 24/7 in that she can be called any time of day or night,
Yeah.
For whatever that has to do with the court.
To get a search warrant or to.
Search warrant, put somebody in jail, whatever.
Yeah.
Wasn't that when there was a judge named Richard Anderson somewhere, they were calling him at 2 a.m. to come do this and that and the other thing. It was crazy. It's like not the right guy. Thank God.
Well, and
It's 7:30.
well, we're started. We started after the last meeting. We're just it's just an informal work
Yeah.
session. So we're not gonna have.
I thought he was
the
gonna have to say the
We
pledge
said
again.
the pledge twice.
I was gonna say, it's time to say the pledge again.
We're
Hey,
pledged.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So I guess everybody knows my opinion. I think that the town's operating pretty good right the way it is. I did talk to Jackie. She said, well, she just asked me if everybody, kind of understands what happens. I mean, there's citations and there's people don't like to wait a month and they sometimes want to get things done right away. It's been the way we've done it for a long time. I don't know if it's, just my opinion is I just don't know if that's going to be saving the kind of money, and I don't know that we should be planning on doing improvements to the town based on a few employees in town, because those are the types of projects that everyone in town needs to be responsible for. That's my take on it, on that particular subject there.
Well, my feeling is that the revenue does not justify the outlay, and that there are several options in the budget to save some money and to gear it towards something else. I don't think we need a full-time second maintenance man, and I don't think we need a full-time policeman. So that's up to you guys.
Well, I think I need to.
I know that there's going to be arguments against it because of one thing or another, but I see some expenses coming down the road and some costs coming down the road that sooner or later we're not going to be able to cover. And if everybody else wants to go ahead and head down that road, I guess that's fine.
Well, let's back up then and take one issue at a time. So,
Well, if we're looking at city court,
okay,
I think I added, and I'm not sure if it was actual or the new budget, but $8,657. And if we cut it back to 1 day a month.
Well, we're paying her extra to do her own clerk work, and with the revenue, the citations that come in, we shouldn't have to be giving her extra money to do that because there's not that much there. And what we do get in the citations, if you take in $120, we get about 40 of it after we've paid the victims fund and the county. So it just doesn't wash.
Well, law enforcement in general is not an enterprise fund, it's not a money.
I know that, Ralph. I know
But,
that.
yeah, but you keep after it, the same thing over and over. And
Well, and I agree, it's not a money-making proposition. However, I think we do need to watch how much we spend for our law enforcement. They had wages, that vehicle, I think we probably could have bought a new vehicle from what we
We
spent
could
on
have bought a
repairs.
new
you know, which
vehicle
is-
when we bought that one probably and had it paid off by now.
But,
well,
That-
the same
that
goes
vehicle that
today,
Ralph
you could
has
buy
is
a
a
brand
piece
new
of
one or
crap.
a new one today and have it paid off in 5 years. You know,
It depends on how much.
Are we
you
gonna
decide
be
to
able
pay
to
off.
afford it in 5 years?
or are you gonna be able to afford it today?
So I hear we probably could have paid off for a new car. Does anybody know what a new car costs these days?
New cop cars
They're,
aren't cheap.
well, any vehicle is, you're not talking about $1,500 and then maybe another 6,000 or 7,000 maybe over the course of the life we've had of that car. I'm not sure.
You're looking at somewhere,
Or
at
maybe-
low ball 32 to 35 on up to 41.
41. Well, I mean, yeah, but how much have we spent on that Tahoe for the last, however long we've had it?
Well, last time I looked at that data, it was like about $100 a month average.
Average.
But that was the last time I looked at it.
Right.
That
Well,
made
I'm
a
just saying,
difference, and
I'm just saying
just
you're
swaying
gonna,
that.
yeah, you're looking at, it's, sure, we,
you know,
I guess that's a
and I went through
possibility.
the monthly things, but I can't remember how
Okay.
much the
Well,
total
we can do
was.
it by year,
What
right
we
here,
spent,
but I don't know. other
last year on
years,
that
yeah.
vehicle. Not on there because it didn't show, but I went, how much we approved every time
Right.
Ralph needed to fix a vehicle, and there for a while, it was
Yeah, you'd have to add these up.
1,000, 1,200.
You'd have to add each
13.
month for the whole year, but it's in here.
Well, in July of last year, this year of 2016, for July it was $700. For August, it was if you're counting gas and oil and repairs, about $775. In September,
But that's the point I'm
You
making.
can't do gas and
If you,
oil.
even if you went, well, no, it's not that. It's all an expense, but you're not gonna save
No.
gas and oil and those types of things, so.
no, but
you
you're
gotta-
gonna
you
you're
gotta
gonna save a
compare
little
oranges
bit
to
in,
oranges.
well,
What do you?
I wrote
you got
down
some
that
figures.
the gas was $5,445 total.
Okay.
Repair, I didn't get a total on it. I got the numbers down.
Well, so the point is that, yeah, I mean, you can decide to get a new vehicle if you want. The cost is going to be something that's more predictable for the payment. You'll still have gas and oil, mileage, you'll have repairs that will need to be done based on whatever it might happen. So, yes, if you guys think the town needs a new car, a new cop car, get one. Make your argument and vote to get one. But are you gonna try to take the cop down to halftime? Then why you need a new car? I mean, I'm just making the point, that why you need a
Yeah.
new car if it's
No,
gonna
it's
be
true. And if we
half
do,
an hour, halftime?
and how long would this vehicle last if Ralph was on half-time and even if we kept the patrol car here? And,
Cause I got a recent repair tag of estimate of $400 and some, so that's something that needs to be worked on, but, so, yeah, they're all kind of points that you can make. I don't think you're gonna save money though if you decide you wanna get a new cop vehicle or a new one. I think we have
Well,
No,
in
it's just-
the works.
there are ways that you can get a nice used police vehicle without having to pay through the nose to get one.
Yeah.
In
Well, we
fact,
got, the one we got was
last
pretty
year I
cheap.
told Ralph to look on some sites, and he said, his answer to me was, I don't have time to do that.
Well,
And you're absolutely correct. You know,
we are hoping to get one from the county next year. That's been sort of on the,
we're
I
on
think so.
the, next on the list supposed to be.
yeah,
We'll
next
see
on the
what happens.
list.
But, you know, I'm just,
Linda said she was gonna leave that around.
I'm curious about, you know, you're gonna cut my wages, you're gonna cut Brenda's wages for time, which is the same thing. And you're gonna use that money to do what with?
How about do some improvements in town?
So you're gonna take our wages and put it somewhere else.
If the work justified the wages, I wouldn't even come up with that idea.
Well, let me throw some stuff at you for consideration. Currently, I'm running 40 hours a week, okay? I don't drink. I'm available 24/7, 365. Now, with your proposal, 20 hours a week, here's the fallout. I might start drinking, and if I do, that means I'm not available for call-out. This 24/7, 365. I'll also be seeking additional employment outside to make up the hours, which in turn, I'm not available for call-out. Carbon County Sheriff's Office is not a substitute. They will not cover, they will respond and hand off. They will not cover, they will respond and hand off when I'm available. And that's criminal only, there's no town ordinance enforcement. Now, on the off chance you wind up with a new hire, maybe a drinker, not available for call-out 24/7, 365. Maybe entry-level, non-certified, no experience. Within the first year, the Montana Code Annotator requires that they attend the Montana Law Enforcement Academy. That's $1,500. Now,
That the
you
city
got
pays
12
for.
May I finish, please? And then you've got 12 weeks of full-time wages. And say you talk somebody into coming on the same price that I originally came on at, that's gonna be $6,500 for the time that they're at the academy. You know, and that $6,500, depending on what you start them at, could be as much as $8,000. 65 to $8,000. Now, here's the kicker. 1 year from date of hire and successful completion of the Montana Law Enforcement Academy, they're eligible for their basic certificate. Well, that's by buying off to an agency with benefits and a competitive wage. Should sound familiar to those that have been around. That's what Fromberg has been doing, been springboarding, that launched quite a number of law enforcement careers over the years. You know, I've been here 8.5 years. You know, I've been here probably longest of any of them. But that's what you need to consider.
I've considered all the consequences, believe me.
Well, sounds like you're gonna spend a lot of money in the end.
Well, I think it's good to get all the, the discussion out there, so. I think that I think that I've said this before, I think that there's a disconnect between what actually happens with the police department, with the general consensus that a few people have voiced. The most egregious account of the police department's misconduct has been they're bothering people the way they park on the main street. I had to run a guy off the street the other day who just decided to stop in the middle of the street and walk over and take pictures of the buildings from one end of town to the other. And I said, excuse me, do you think you could park your car off the street? Because this is the attitude of people who want to have a town where they can just do whatever they want. So they pull in and they park funny and they don't care. I've seen people pull up the street and turn into the parking this side of the street. And the biggest complaint with Ralph from a few people in the main street was that he keeps giving people a hard time about parking. I think if you're going to say that you're not happy with the bang you get for the buck, then that's fine. work on, and I know you have been, work on a job description for the police department and present that to the police department. It's not a wholesale change because that shouldn't be done anyway. Present an idea to change the police job description or the town works job description or whatever to accommodate what you think it needs to be addressed. And then the employee has to, you notify them of 2 weeks of changes and let them decide if they're going to hang around. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I think Ralph has a valid point. 20 hours a week, and when he's done, are you going to want to have him come in if there's a call up to 40 hours a week, or are you going to consider that you're going to not call our town cop, and maybe the county sends the Joliet cop or the Bridger cop? Well, the Joliet don't have a cop, but Bridger cop. I don't know. There's been lots of criticisms, but I don't think it's been good for the town to be talking about the town and the police department and the mayor and the council the way people have. And unfortunately, I really believe there's been some of that council members that are involved in that. The town business should take place here, not anywhere else in town. I guess, we've had people who had complaints about the way the police department's run, and we've had meetings to discuss those incidents, and they were very minor little things. So now, how do you justify taking somebody's wages away, and like Brenda, for example, so that you can pay for a project? Brenda's cut was I think I figured $7,000 a year. Is everybody here willing to donate $7,000 a year to fix this pothole or to fix something in the town that needs fixing? I think it's the wrong approach. I think if you don't like the employees, you don't think they're doing a good job, that when you get into a position where you evaluate those employees, that's when you have the authority to start evaluating, and you document your problems, you give the employees a chance to improve or not improve, and you go from there.
Well, first off,
your jobs are to legislate, not to evaluate the employees. And I'm not going to relent, or I guess I don't know if that's the word, I'm not going to succumb to the wishes of people who are disgruntled because they didn't like getting a ticket or they didn't like the way Ralph spoke to them or something like that. If you have a problem with the employees, if you happen to get into a position of mayor, whoever that might be, that's who sits down with the employees and talks about their performance, talks about what they should be doing different. That's the process. Like it or not, that's the way the system is set up from the time of our beginning. And you can make these suggestions. I hope you can keep out the comments that are personal about, things that have been brought up before. It is obviously, sometimes gets personal. I don't have any animosity towards anybody. I just think that if you have an idea that you can convince other council people to go along with, that's the way the system works. If you can't, I don't think you should be dismayed by that. I think that's the way it works. And I think having a divided council, by the way, which I'm not going to be pretending that we don't have one. We have a divided council. That's probably a good thing. Not to have everybody on the same page doing this, everybody agreeing to do the same thing all the time. That's where you get into trouble, when everybody's on the same mindset, and then the people will allow other people to do whatever they want because they're all thinking the same way. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think you have to sell it. I think you have to get other council people to buy your ideas.
Well, first of all, let me say that I'm not making these suggestions because I don't like Brenda or because I don't like Ralph,
right,
or because of this stuff. You know what, Annette, you're very annoying sometimes.
Or because you don't like the judge, or you don't like the council.
I don't even know the judge.
Or you don't like
I don't know the judge.
I'm not saying it was personal. I never said that. But that's not the point. It's not personal. Okay, you've never met the judge, so I guess your argument is that we don't need a judge, but one day a month, and we don't need to pay as much money as we do. Have you talked to the judge? Have you asked the judge, hey, why would I not expect, why would I want you to come in every day of the week? Don't just, I mean, for me, and I'm not a voting part of this deal, to me, you have to do more than just say, we don't need somebody. If you can't, and Brenda, we don't need Brenda 2 hours a day. And somebody in the audience said, yeah, that she makes her own money on another income. Well, that's irrelevant. And not only irrelevant, it's
I don't care how much money she makes somewhere else.
it's basically not necessarily anybody even knows. I certainly don't know what Brenda makes on her in her other income, whatever. So I guess make your suggestions and the reasons for making them, and we'll go from there. On Monday night, and again, do it wholesale or do it line item at a time. Do we have anybody else who has a feeling on the judge being cut in half?
I think we should.
Okay. Down this way, I mean, we're not voting or anything.
No, I personally think that we don't have
Well, I
enough
don't
business.
feel right making a judgment that we're making here when we don't know exactly what the day-to-day things are. I mean, we're the council, and of course we know what some of the stuff that goes on, but until you sit there behind that desk or do this stuff, we don't know what the day-to-day, what it takes for them to do different things. And I can tell you right now, I can pretty well guess, because I've been in Brenda's position a time or two, there's more